What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Savage Rounds with Xavier. This is episode 16. This is going to be a really quick one because I'm stupid and just recorded a whole normal length video, but I clicked stream instead of record, so I don't know where that is, but it's gone. So I'm going to do a really quick one here. I'll talk a little bit more in depth about the main card, but I'll give quick thoughts on each of these, talk a little bit about betting real quick. Kicking off the night, Diana Belbitsa versus Maria Oliveira. I like Belbitsa here. I think her hands are a little bit more technical. I think she'll push forward. Later rounds, Oliveira tends to gas a little bit. I think the power Belbitsa has in her hands, and just like I said, the little technical advantage I believe she has, I think she can get the victory done here. No bets on this one for me. I think this is going to end up still being a pretty close fight. Next up, David Dvorak versus Steve Erceg. I like Dvorak here. This is a debut for Erceg. It is a tough matchup in your first one. He's a really good grappler, high submission threat, very talented on the ground. Dvorak, a good grappler in his own right. I think his grappling is good enough to keep this standing where I believe he will have the bigger advantage. I think the experience and just the advantage I think he'll have on the feet will be able to get him the win here. So I'm going with Dvorak. Erceg sub at plus 600. I don't hate it. I've seen quite a few people taking a stab at it on Twitter. I don't hate it just because how dangerous Erceg is if he can find a way to get this fight to the ground or find a limb or something like that. But I'm going with Dvorak here. No bets from me, most likely. Next up, Kyle Nelson, Blake Bilder. I like Bilder in this one. I think he's the much more well-rounded fighter. He can use the grappling, which I believe he'll have quite a sizable grappling advantage here. On the feet, I think Nelson is probably the more technical striker. He'll have the bigger power as well. But I think Bilder, and you know, it is dangerous because we've seen Bilder get hurt before on lower-level competitions, fighting lower-level guys. So you never know. Nelson could find that big shot, but I do like Bilder. To use his pressure, his forward pressure, his aggression, the volume he puts out on the feet, mixing in the takedowns, the submission threat he's got. He's great when he can take your back. I like Bilder to get this one done. Betting wise, I don't hate the under 2.5. That big knockout threat from Nelson. I think he's fighting for his job, so he'll be going crazy to try and find the finish here. And I think the sizable advantage Bilder will have on the ground, and the threat of Nelson gassing is always there, and Blake Bilder finding a TKO late, that kind of deal. I don't mind Bilder sub at plus 225. Bilder KO TKO I probably won't take a shot at. I just wrote it down because it's plus 500, and there's that threat of, like I said, Nelson gassing late. But under 2.5 or under 2.5 rounds, minus 150. Bilder sub plus 225, not bad. Moving on up, we've got Eamon Zahabi or Richie Lang. I like Richie Lang here. I think he'll be moving forward. He'll be the aggressor in this fight. They've both got pretty solid hands. Eamon Zahabi might be a little bit of the smarter, more technical fighter, but the aggression and the power Richie Lang has, I think, can kind of level it out. And then he'll mix in the wrestling as well. We've seen that from him. I like the forward pressure he'll bring. I'm going with a Richie Lang on this one. No bets here from me. I think it's a really close fight, and Zahabi definitely has paths to victory in this one. So the minus 117, it is a close fight. I don't mind people taking it, but for me it's a little close. I'll be staying away because I'm not super convinced, but I do for my pick like Richie Lang. Moving on up, Miranda Maverick, Jasmine Jastovicius. I think Maverick gets this win here. On the feet, I think it'll be relatively even. Probably the power advantage from Jastovicius, but the threat of the takedown and the grappling from Miranda Maverick will be there, which I think can open up the striking a little bit more for her, because Jastovicius will have to watch out for that and be ready for the takedowns, and then the grappling threat there as well from Maverick. I think she has multiple paths to find this victory. I think she gets this one done. No bets from me here on this one. I'm not considering any bets for this one. Next up, Nasruddin Imavov, Chris Curtis. I like Imavov a lot in this one. I think his length, size, speed, the movement ability he has on the feet, I think he'll be able to stick and move on Chris Curtis early through the first 2 rounds. We've seen Curtis struggle with good movement like we saw in Hermanson. The late threat from Curtis, I do worry about a little bit. Imavov, his gas tank can be a little bit of a question mark at times, and he's very open to body shots. He'll absorb a lot of body shots, not defend them super well, just because of how he holds his hands down super low. But I do think Imavov in the early rounds can do enough to get the victory in the end here. Obviously, he'll try and mix in his takedowns as well. Chris Curtis has great takedown defense.Maybe Imavov can use his size a little bit, wear on Curtis up against the fence. That kind of deal. Win minutes, win rounds. Over 2.5 at -175. Unless you're on the Curtis getting the finish side here, I like the over. Both pretty durable guys. Chris Curtis has only been finished twice, I think. And Imavov's been pretty tough. We've seen him take big shots from Buckley and still be there. He took a lot of damage from Strickland, and he was still good. Or I won't say still good, but still in the fight, still trying to win. Imavov decision at +140 I think is nice as well. And then if you're on the Chris Curtis side, I don't mind, because I have trouble seeing him win a decision just from the output side. I don't think he'll put up enough strikes. I think he can find the finish, and that's his best path to victory. But if you do like Chris Curtis there, and you're worried about just playing the finish, this one's a little bit safer. Chris Curtis scorecards equals no action +100. So if Curtis finds the finish, you get the +100 odds. If it goes to scorecards, no matter who wins, it pushes. The only thing you'd have to worry about is the Imavov finish, which, even though I'm on the Imavov winning side, I don't think he gets the finish. Yeah, so that's what I'm going with there. Next up, Marc-Andre Barrio versus Eric Anders. I like Barrio in this one. I think he can make this gritty and tough for Anders. I think he can stuff takedowns, and I like Barrio on the feet better. Not too much to say about this one. I'm going with Barrio just to win. Featherweight fight, Dan Ige, Nate Landwehr. This is going to be a fun one of the few I think could be up for fight of the night. But I like Ige in this one. We know Nate's going to be crazy, move forward, throw big shots, shoot takedowns, be wild, high-paced, but his chin is always up in the air. Dan Ige, I think, is definitely the more technical fighter here. I like his striking a lot. I think even off the back foot with Nate coming forward, he'll be able to time good shots, find a big one. On Nate's chin, like I said, it's up there when he's striking, coming forward all wild, and we've seen him take big shots and go down before. Onama couldn't find the finish on him, but I do think Ige will be able to find the finish. I like Ige in this one. Under 2.5, -105 if you're also on the side of the Ige finish, or if you think Nate will find a finish. Ige KO TKO +150, I like that. And then I don't mind a little sprinkle on either round 2 or 3. KO TKO for Ige. Round 2 is +675. Round 3 is +950. Ige could get it done in the first too. I think Nate's pretty tough, and early he'll be able to take on some big shots, but as they come later throughout the fights, I think it'll start to cause problems. I'm going with Ige here. Next up, Mike Malott versus Adam Fugit. This one's only on the main card because they're Canadian. It probably should have been switched with the Imavov-Curtis one, but it is what it is. For this one, I like Malott. I think he's the more well-rounded fighter. Both pretty decent on the feet. I think Malott's a little bit more dangerous. He'll have more power. And then he has the grappling threat, I believe, as well. He has more submission victories than knockout TKO finishes. I think that's where his big advantage lies, is in the grappling. I still think he's a bit better of a striker, but I just think that's where Adam Fugit can cause him problems as well on the feet, and he's less of a threat when it goes to the ground. In this situation, I like Mike Malott. Under 2.5, -255. I do think we find a finish here, but that is a bit of a steep line, so I'll probably stay away from it. Malott sub at +250 isn't bad, I don't think, to take a shot at, but I'm not too sure quite yet. That's just what I'm looking at. Next up, the people's main event, what everybody's waiting for, another contender for fight of the night, I believe. Charles Oliveira, Beneil Dariush. I like Oliveira in this one. I think I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying their grappling cancels out. I don't quite think it does. I don't think Oliveira will be able to like forcefully get him to the ground with takedowns and stuff. Maybe he can find trips and stuff, but I feel like it's a bit unlikely just to get a straight takedown. And I don't know if Beneil Dariush will take it down, so it'll be less of a threat. Will take it down to the ground, so it'll be less of a threat for Oliveira in that sense. Even though on the ground, I think he's well equipped to deal with it. I think if Oliveira clips him, though, then that's where the ground game can cause problems for Dariush, or if he does find one of those trips. I feel like it's unlikely. On the feet, though, Beneil Dariush has, I'd say, the bigger power. He can land the bigger shots, and we've seen Oliveira get put down in all these title fights recently. So that is always a threat from Dariush. But I do believe Oliveira is the more clean technical striker. He has more weapons on the feet as well. The Muay Thai striking, the kicks, the knees he throws, clinch work he does. It's all great. I think he'll be able to put Beneil down at some point and find a finish, whether it be TKO or submission. I highly doubt it. I won't say highly doubt, but I'd say it's probably going to be club and sub kind of deal. Find the submission for Oliveira. Under 2.5, minus 210. I have a hard time seeing this go to the judges, but I probably won't play it at minus 210. Oliveira at plus 125, or it could be a little bit lower because I made the graphic yesterday, but Oliveira as an underdog, I don't mind either. Next up, the title fight. Women's bantamweight title fight. Amanda Nunes, Irene Aldana. I think Amanda Nunes keeps the belt here. Aldana's a big threat on the feet. She's got good power, good boxing. But I think Amanda, obviously we've seen her strike on the feet as well. She's always dangerous. And I think she'll be able to mix in the grappling to get the win in this one. We've seen her get in trouble being a little careless on the ground. Getting in armbar trouble and stuff like that, but I believe Amanda in this one will be good. I think she'll find the victory using the striking, mixing in the grappling, that kind of deal. Savage Rounds Parlay, where I don't have the exact numbers. I wish I did look. I should have in between, but I didn't. I believe we're like 4 of our last 5, somewhere along those lines, hitting our last 3 or 4 in a row. So we're on a good little streak right here. I'm trying to keep it going. I like Eamon for all those reasons I said early on. First 2 rounds, I think he'll be leading the dance here. If his gas tank is improved, I think he can do it through 3 rounds, but we've seen that be a struggle for him. I like the movement. I like the length and the size he provides, the kicks, the different weapons. I like Eamon for the first parlay piece. Next up, Dan Ige. Like I said, I really do think he'll find the big shot to hurt Nate Landwehr at some point. Just with how wild Nate fights, his chin's up in the air. We've seen him get dropped before. He's super hittable. I think Dan Ige can get this win here, whether it be over 3 rounds, hurting him a few times, which if he does win it by decision, I think it'll be due to Nate's toughness, just being able to withstand all the big shots, or whether he's able to find, or whether Ige is able to find the big shot that puts him out. I think Ige gets the victory regardless. Putting the parlay at plus 127. I like that one a lot. Hopefully we can keep the little hot streak we're on running. But yeah, that'll be all. Quick little episode, episode 16, because I hit stream instead of record on the full recording. But yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys next week, hopefully with Dobie for the card review for this card. We'll make some matchups, and then same deal, we'll break down and talk about bets for next week. Peace out.